hello everyone, welcome back to the recap. Now today we have NBA themed video, and I will be predicting the NBA games with the playoffs and the 8 added games for each team. I'm really excited for the NBA season to be back and the NBA playoffs. I'm sure you are too, so let's get right into this. And first I'm going to be reading off the standings before the added 8 games, and then after I went through and predicted each team's record in each game throughout the 8 games. So before, in the East, we had the Milwaukee Bucks with the 1 seed with a 52-12 record. The Toronto Raptors had the 2 seed with a 46-18 record. The Boston Celtics had the 3 seed with a 43-21 record. The Miami Heat had the 4 seed, 41-24 record. The Indiana Pacers had the 5 seed with a 39-26 record. The Philadelphia 76ers had the 6 seed with a 39-26 record. The Nets had the 7 seed with a 30-34, a big drop off from the 6 to the 7. The Orlando Magic had the 8 seed with a 30-35 record, and the Washington Wizards had the 9 seed with a 24-40 record. I'm not going to be reading the other teams, as those are the only 9 teams that we will be talking about in the video. Now on the Western side, we had the Lakers with the 1 seed with a 49-14 record, the Clippers with the 2 seed, a 44-20 record, the Nuggets were the 3 seed with a 43-22 record, the Jazz were a 4 seed with a 41-23 record, the Thunder were the 5 seed with a 40-24 record, the Rockets were the 6 seed with also a 40-24 record, the Mavericks were the 7 seed with a 40-27 record. The Memphis Grizzlies were the 8 seed, and they went 32-33. The Trailblazers were the 9th seed, and they went 29-37. The Pelicans 10 seed, 28-36. The Kings 11 seed, 28-36 again. The Spurs were the 12 seed, 27-36, and the Suns were the 13th seed, 26-39. Now that is a mouthful, but those were the standings. Just a little overview so you know what we're going into. And now I predicted every team's games, so after there was a little bit of change. If there's an equal sign next to the name, it means they stayed where they are. A plus sign means they increased in their position, minus decreased in the position. And if their name is highlighted in red, it means they're eliminated. Blue, it means they have a play-in game. And normal, it means they made the playoffs. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks stayed the 1 seed. I had them going 6-2 and finishing with a 58-14 record. The Raptors stayed the same, 2 seed, and I had them going 5-3 with a 51-21 record. The Celtics also stayed the 3 seed with the same record, 5-3, and went 48-24. The Heat stayed the same 4 seed with the same record, 5-3, 46-27. They ended up with 46-27 record. The 5 seed, this is where things started to change. The Philadelphia 76ers jumped the Pacers. They went 5-3 and increased their record to 44-29 and increased their position to be the 5 seed. The 6 seed, the Pacers dropped. I think Oladipo announced he wasn't playing. They still do have Sabonis and Turner and Brogdon, so I had them going 4-4, but I don't think they'll be very good. Obviously, that's 500 for the 8 games, and they were dropped down to the 6th seed and had a 43-30 record to end the 8 games. And Orlando Magic jumped up to the 7th seed, went 3-5, and finished with a 33-40 record. The Nets dropped down to the 8th seed, went 2-6. I think, or Kyrie's not playing, Kevin Durant's not playing, Spencer Dinwiddie, well, obviously Kevin Durant's not playing, well, I don't know, he decided not to play. Spencer Dinwiddie, he might not play, he tested positive for corona, and Taurean Prince, I think, is not playing, so their team is just, a lot of people aren't going to Orlando, so I think that they won't have a very good 8 games, and they will drop down to the 8 seed. And the Wizards, the 9 seed, they don't have Bradley Beal. They also go 2-6, finish with a 26-46 record. Now in the West, the Lakers stay the same, go 6-2, 55-16. The Clippers, I think they'll have a great 8 games, go 7-1, 51-21, finishing up. Denver Nuggets will go 4-4. I don't think they'll have a great 8 games. I think they'll finish 47-26. Obviously, Jokic did get a lot skinnier, but during the 8 games, I think he might need a little bit to get used to that, as a big part of his game was bullying people, and with less weight, he won't really be able to do that. But 4-4 is still fine, and they keep the 3 seed. The 4 seed, the Mavericks, jumped up, went 6-2. I think Luka will play great in these 8 games and finish with a 46-29 record. Now, the 5-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder will stay the same, I think, and they'll go 4-4 with a 44-28 record. The Rockets will stay the same, also go 4-4, also with a 44-28 record. And the Jazz will drop down, so them and the Mavericks will swap spots. The Jazz were 4, go to 7. The Mavericks were 7, go to 4. The Jazz, I don't think Mitchell and Gobert will be on the same page. I think Mitchell's kind of mad at Gobert, so I think the Jazz will go 2-6 and finish with a 43-29 record. The Grizzlies, I think they'll go 3-5, finish with a 35-38 record, but will stay the same. Trailblazers will go 5-3. I think they'll play well and contend for the play-in game and go keep the 19, go 34-40. Now the Pelicans stay the same at 10, Kings stay the same at 11, Spurs stay the same at 12, Suns stay the same at 13. It was getting a little bit long, so I don't need to read those, as they all didn't have the greatest 8 games. The Suns went 0-8, and all 4 of those stayed the same and didn't make the playoffs. Now let's jump right into the play-in round between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Trailblazers. And I think John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., as good as they are, I don't think they really have the experience, as they are the 2 stars of that team. You could say Valanciunas is, but I think Jaren Jackson is already better. And I just don't think they'll have the experience. And I think the Portland Trailblazers will win 2 in a row. They have Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic is back, I'm pretty sure. And I think the Portland Trailblazers will win both games and take advantage of making the playoffs with a play-in round, and will move on and become the new 8 seed to play the 1-seeded Lakers. Now, in the Eastern Conference first round, the 1-seeded Milwaukee Bucks versus the 8-seeded Brooklyn Nets. I think this one's fairly easy. The Milwaukee Bucks are just such a good team, and I think they will win in a sweep 4 games. The Nets just don't really have much talent. They do have Dinwiddie, but that's pretty much it, and I think the Bucks will sweep the Nets in the first round. Now, in the 4 versus 5 matchup, it's the Miami Heat versus the Philadelphia 76ers, and I think this will be a very close matchup, but in the end, I think the Philadelphia 76ers will win. I think that there won't be an away crowd that can boo them. There won't be home fans to cheer them on, but as there are no fans, I don't think it'll really affect them, and I think they'll just play, and I think they'll be a good team, and I think they'll beat the Heat in 6. It'll be a close series. Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and obviously the Miami Heat have really good chemistry and have a good motor, but in the end, I think the most talented players on the court win, and that is Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, in the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, in the other 2 matchups in the Eastern Conference, the 2-seeded Toronto Raptors versus the 7-seeded Orlando Magic. I think this one will be fairly easy for the Toronto Raptors. I do think they will win in 5. The Magic might get 1 game. Vucevic goes off, Fournier goes off, but the Raptors, I think, will win this series with relative ease. Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry push the Toronto Raptors to the second round of the Eastern Conference. And in the other series of the Eastern Conference, it's the 3-seeded Boston Celtics versus the 6-seeded Indiana Pacers, and I think the Boston Celtics win this one with relative ease. As I said before, Oladipo's not playing, and I think the Celtics will win the series in 5, as Kemba, Jason Tatum, I think, will continue being on his tear. Jaylen Brown, that team is loaded with talent, and they will move on to the second round. Now moving on to the Eastern Conference second round, we have the 1-seed Milwaukee Bucks versus the 5-seeded Philadelphia 76ers. And all I can say is Giannis. I think Giannis will propel the Bucks to win the series in 6. The 76ers do have Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, but I don't think that team is really constructed well. I don't think Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid fit like many other people around the NBA world, and I think the Bucks will win this. They have Giannis, they have the sidekick Chris Middleton, they have the third option Eric Bledsoe, they have Brook Lopez, and I think they will win the series in 6 games. Now on the other side of the Eastern Conference, we have the 2-seeded Toronto Raptors versus the 3-seeded Boston Celtics. And I actually think the Boston Celtics will win this one. I'm going with a little bit of an upset, but I don't think the Toronto Raptors are a very good 2-seed. They have Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, but that's pretty much it. They have Marc Gasol, but he's very old. Who else do they have? OG Anunoby. Anunoby. I think that's it. But they don't really have much offense on that team, and I think the Boston Celtics will win that series behind Jason Tatum, behind Kemba Walker. I think Boston is looking really good at this point and will move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's the 1-seeded Milwaukee Bucks versus the 3-seeded Boston Celtics, and I think the Boston Celtics will actually win this series in 7 games. I'm calling the upset. I think the Boston Celtics are actually are a great matchup for the Bucks. I think Kemba Walker versus Eric Bledsoe, I think that'll be a good matchup, but I think Kemba Walker could dominate that. Well, so obviously I don't think it'll be a good matchup, but they're both decent point guards. But I think Kemba Walker will definitely take advantage of maybe an older Eric Bledsoe. He is a good defender, but I think Kemba Walker is putting up 20 a night in this series. I think Jaylen Brown is locking up Chris Middleton. And I think Jason Tatum is athletic enough, is good enough to kind of shut down Giannis. And I think that the Celtics have enough offense to propel themselves past the Bucks. And I think this series is all about Kemba. I think it'll be a great defensive matchup. I don't think there'll be as much offense as you expect in this series, as I think Jason Tatum will shut down Giannis, and the same goes for Giannis shutting down Jason. And obviously, each of those players are probably the biggest scoring threats on each of their own teams. And so I think the Celtics will win the series in 7, pull off the upset, and they will move on to the NBA Finals. Now, moving on to the Western Conference first round, we have the 1-seeded Los Angeles Lakers versus the 8-seeded Portland Trail Blazers, who just beat the Grizzlies and are feeling good going into this series. But unfortunately, LeBron, AD, dismantle Damian Lillard, and the Lakers I think will win in 5. The Blazers will win 1 game behind Damian Lillard, but the Lakers are too good, and they will move on to the Western Conference second round. Now in the 4-5 matchup, we have the 4-seeded Dallas Mavericks versus the 5-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder, and I think this will actually be a good matchup. Luka, Chris Paul, Danilo Gallinari, Steven Adams, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Kristaps Porzingis. This series has a lot of talent, a lot of up-and-coming talent in Shai, Luka, Kristaps, but I think the veteran experience of Chris Paul and Steven Adams will propel the Thunder to win this series. I think this series will go to 6, possibly 7, but I think the Thunder win the series behind Chris Paul having a great series. Now in the other 2 games of the Western Conference, we have the 2-seeded Clippers versus the 7-seeded Jazz. And I don't think this is going to be a close series. I think the Clippers will win in 5. As I said before, I think Mitchell and Gobert won't work in the future. I think just when you're already not great friends. You're just players on a team. And I don't think they were great friends before this. And now they'll just feel like kind of enemies on the court. And I don't think it'll go well, as they are the 2 stars. So I think one of them will need to get traded in the future. But I think the Clippers will win this in 5. And moving on to the other matchup in the Western Conference, we have the 3-seeded Nuggets versus the 6-seeded Houston Rockets. And I think the Rockets will actually win this series in 6. I think Jokic and Murray won't be able to beat Westbrook and Harden. I think Westbrook and Harden will finally be clicking and finally be just succeeding greatly in the small ball lineup. I think it actually could work against the Nuggets, as if they can kind of box out Nikola Jokic and get him to the 3-point line. And obviously he's skinnier, so if you can put someone with more muscle, as PJ Tucker has a lot of muscle, maybe he can kind of push him out, and then they can kind of gang up to get the rebounds. It could work. I think the Rockets, behind James Harden, behind Russell Westbrook, will move on in 6 games, and I think it'll be a great win for the Rockets to move on to the second round. Now, in the second round of the Western Conference Finals, or not the finals, but in the Western Conference, we have the 1-seeded Los Angeles Lakers versus the 5-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder, and I think the Lakers will win this series with relative ease. I think they'll win this one in 5. I think the Thunder, behind Chris Paul, he is a great player, so he will win a game. Just once again, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, just too much for that Oklahoma City Thunder team. On the other side of the Western Conference, we have the 2-seeded Los Angeles Clippers versus the 6-seeded Houston Rockets, and I think the duo of Kawhi Leonard, Paul George just works better than the duo of James Harden and Russell Westbrook, as well as the surrounding team of the Clippers is a lot better than the Rockets. I think the Rockets' small ball lineup could work on the Clippers, however, as the Clippers have a small center in Montrezl Harrell. They have Paul George sometimes plays power forward. They're a smaller team, so the Rockets could find some success. So I think this series would go to 5 or 6 games. I think I'm going to say the Clippers will win this one I think I'm going to say the Clippers will win this one in 6 and move on to face the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. Now, in the Western Conference Finals, I think this series could feel like the NBA Finals. As the Boston Celtics sneak peek, they might not be the best matchup for whoever wins this series, in my opinion. But the Lakers Clippers, I think this will be a great series. It'll go to 7, I think, definitely. But I actually think I've said it throughout the videos. The Lakers will win this one in 7. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, just once again, they're just too much of a great duo. They have Rajon Rondo. They have Dwight Howard, who said he's going to play. Who else do they have? They signed J.R. Smith, right, who I think could have a comeback in the NBA and play well on this 8 games in playoff run. And I think the Lakers will move on to the NBA Finals. Now in the NBA Finals, we have the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Boston Celtics. And I don't think this will be a great series. I mean, it's obviously the NBA Finals, so it'll be good. It'll be highly anticipated. But I think the Clippers-Lakers matchup series will be better. I think this series, the Lakers versus Celtics, I think it'll go to 6. I think Jason Tatum's a great player. I think him and Kemba Walker could definitely win 2 against the Lakers, as the Lakers don't really have a great point guard to guard Kemba Walker, unless you put LeBron James on him. But then who you're going to really put on Jason Tatum? Anthony Davis, I don't know. He might be a little slow to guard Jason Tatum, as Jason Tatum is such an athletic basketball player. But I think the Lakers, in the end, will win the series. LeBron James will go off. He'll win another NBA championship. He'll be another even stronger argument for the greatest of all time candidate. I think he'll need one more if he wins this championship with the Lakers to be my GOAT. I don't think this would put him as a GOAT. I think many people would have him as their GOAT over Michael after this NBA Finals. Not for me, but I think the Lakers will win this series behind LeBron James, behind Anthony Davis, and I think the Lakers just win the 2020 NBA Finals, like I've said, beat the Celtics. And that is my champion, the Los Angeles Lakers. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you keep watching more. Comment who you think will make the finals, how far you think the Celtics will go. I can see them losing, maybe even first rounds. The Celtics, I think, will be a hit-or-miss team this year. But I think they could definitely hit, and that's why I have them going to the finals. Comment who you think will win between the Lakers and Clippers. Comment anything you want about the NBA. I hope you enjoyed this video, and peace.